Hey friends, Jessica here with Creators Couture with a new quick tutorial recap. What I'm doing on this series is going through some of my previous Behance live stream tutorials that you might have missed because they're not on YouTube, and giving you a brief overview so you can start creating even faster. I know we are busy, so in this one what I was doing is creating some fun spooky backgrounds, and I used a color palette collection which is in my Starry brush kit, and it was just really perfect for some Halloween spooky season vibes. And if you're a subscriber, you can get the demo source files and the loaded brushes, and I've got the brushes here. I just used really like such a mishmash of different brushes. I have one of my marble ones, I've got an orange marble one, some loose watercolor, and I really love like the really nice effects. I've got some pattern stamp brushes from my Artistic Autumn collection, more marble, some sparkles. So all that's included in the toolkit, and I'll list all of them below as well. And I just had fun layering, and I also created this little spider, I'm forgetting the word, little arachnid thing with some gold accents, because you know I love to put some gold. And I even used some like Creative Couture styles. So I'll go over the time lapse and give you a few tips and tricks, kind of let you know what I did. And then just, of course, you can let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments. Okay, so let's tune into the time lapse, and I'll just give you a little overview of what's going on here. So I have my reference on the left, and then what I was doing was going through and trying to find just the right marble brush that I wanted, and I was using the gray from that color palette, and it's a multicolor, so it really has that like depth, that color jitter, but in this one it's very subtle. And then for a contrast, what I was wanting to do is take a marble brush, but one that had a little bit more haze around it, so I found this one, used the orange color palette from the Starry collection, and it really gave that, you know, kind of classic color palette of, you know, Halloween. And then I went in with one of my loose watercolor brushes, which did a great job of creating kind of the illusion of like a clouds at night. I thought that was really good. Then I wanted this little starry brush just to add a little, you know, nighttime accent, and used a pave layer style from my Creative Couture collection. And then the next thing that I was going to work on the leaves. So to create the shape of the leaves, I used a stamp brush from my Artistic Autumn. Doesn't really matter what color I use because I really just want the selection. And then what I did was I went through and I took a couple marble brushes and filled it in with like two different brushes, so that you had that like marble look, and then also kind of filling it in, because at the first one I had only the, you know, the marble without that background. It didn't really retain the shape of that. So then I was looking at my Celestial Gold, my layer styles, and I wanted to create this spider, but I realized that I don't like the look of that when it was so harsh. So I took a watercolor brush from my brushwork collection to kind of give that little bit of transparency and depth. And then I also, in the same thing, I used a brush from my brush studio and then added the layer style. So it kind of created this depth effect because I didn't want those harsh edges. And then I went through and I was seeing what kind of layer style I want. I knew I wanted some kind of citrine normally to go with this, but having that like two-tone, oh, and then also I added some marble. That was really cool. So I had a lot of fun with that, but also like, so it didn't feel just so blockish. And then I did the same thing with like the top part of the body, kind of just layering some, put the layer style on, and then just layering some brush strokes within this area. And it created a bit of a depth effect. And then for the legs, I used just a little pattern brush from my Fresh from the Oven brush collection. And I used also a pave kind of layer style. This, I think it was the same one that I used before. I'm using the symmetry tool here to put those little segments of the leg, but I left a space because then what I'm going to do is fill it in with like some little dots or whatever. And also here I was kind of going through and deciding what to do. Oh, there's the little dots that I added for the joints, which I think added a nice contrast. also with like a citrine layer style normally. And then I was trying to decide what to do around the body and whether to like, you know, put a decorative brush, put some layer styles. And then I kind of had the idea to use my Celestial Goldmine Gold. And what I did was I used one of the Golden Jewel brushes, like a rough brush to apply, and then use that Celestial Goldmine layer style. So I had this kind of a gilded sort of effect for the body, which I think was really good. And then I was flipping through the little joints dots that I had created and trying to decide whether I wanted to do them in gold or citrine. I think I went back to citrine in the end. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, so that's the recap done. I'll have all the information down below. Make sure that you're like and subscribed so you don't miss any fun videos, and I will see you guys on my next tutorial.